Hello, good day! Ito nga pala ang inyong Sir Jello at mayroon ako ulit ituturo sa inyo na math video topics. Pero bago yan, huwag niyo munang kalimutang mag-subscribe sa aking YouTube channel na Sir Jello para maging updated kayo sa lahat ng videos na i-upload ko.
Hello, good day! Welcome to another edition of Sir Jello's Math Video Tutorials. In this video, we're going to learn more of ratio and proportion. So actually, our focus here is proportion with ratio as a review for that. So let us discuss and recall what is a ratio. So ratio is a comparison of two numbers. Can also be a relation of two quantities of the same unit expressed as a fraction. It is read as A is to B, or A with double colon, B, or A slash B. That is ratio. Let us have our examples here. So for number 1, the ratio of 27 boys and 36 girls. So that is actually, if we're going to write it as a ratio, that is 27 is to 36. And of course, you can always reduce this ratio into lowest term to find its ratio. So for number 1, we have 27 over 36. We just divide it by the greatest common number, or a number that can be divided both for 27 and 36. That is 9. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. 36 divided by 9 is 4. So the ratio of 27 boys and 36 girls is also 3:4. So that means for every 3 boys, there will be 4 girls. Next, number 2, the ratio of 4 teachers to 500 students. So that is 4:500. But we can determine how many students are there for each teacher. So for number 2, we have 4 over 500. We can divide it by the GCF. These two numbers. It is 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 500 divided by 4 is 125. So that means for every 1 teacher corresponds to 125 students. Then number 3, the ratio of 12 centimeters to 15 centimeters of the same unit of measurement. So first we can write it as 12:15. So for number 3, we have 12 over 15, or we can divide this by common number, or the GCF for 12 and 15, that is 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So the equivalent ratio actually, or the lowest term for 12 over 15 is 4:5. So those are examples of ratio. And that will lead us to proportion. So when we say proportion, This is an equality of two ratios denoted as A is to B equals C is to D, or we can write it as A over B equals C over D, where A and D are called the extremes while B and C are called the means. Okay. Before we proceed with our examples, let's have first the properties of proportion. So the most common property of proportion is number one, the means extremes property or the cross product property. So if we're going to recall proportion, A and D are called the extremes, B and C are called means. So actually, if we're going to cross multiply, so by means of number 1, so we're going to cross A and D and BC. That's why the result is AD equals BC. Okay, next we have the means or extremes switching property. So if A over B equals C over D and is a proportion, then both D over B equals C over A and A over C equals B over D are proportion. So actually, what we did here is we switch the mean to extreme and then extreme to means, and still they are proportion based on the switching property. Third, we have the upside down property. So if A is to B equals C is to D, then we turn A over B upside down, it becomes B over A equals C over D becomes D over C. And still these are proportion. And then last we have the denominator addition / subtraction property. If A over B equals C over D, then A plus B over B equals C plus D over D, or A minus B over B equals C minus D over D. So here we are only applying the denominator. So whatever the denominator is, in this case B and D, we just add or subtract by means of this property. So these are the different properties that we're going to encounter, or actually the most common property that we are going to apply for the next examples is usually the means extremes property or the cross product property. Let us move on now with examples. Okay, let's have number 1. So we have A is to 7 equals 3 is to 21. So the missing term here is letter A, or our extremes. So to solve for A, we can use the cross product property. So that is A times 21. So we can rewrite it as A times 21 equals 7 times 3. Then we get the product. So we have 21a equals 21. What we're going to do is to divide both sides by 21. So a is equal to 1. So this means that the value of a is 1 for these two ratios to be proportional. Now if we're going to check, the product of the means should be equal to the product of the extremes. So we have a as 1. So 1 times 21 equals 7 times 3, which is also 21. So the answer is 21. Next, number 2, we have 4 is to b equals 6 is to 9. So the same process, so we can cross. So first we have the extreme. So we have 4 times 9 equals 6 times b. So 4 times 9 we have 36 equals 6b. And then divide both sides by 6. So b is equal to 6. So if we're going to check, so we have 4 is to 6 equals 6 is to 9. So if we're going to get the product by cross product, we have 4 times 9, 36. 6 times 6 is also 36. Okay, number 3, we have f is to 15 equals 6 is to 45. So we have, so if we're going to cross this already, so we have 45 f equals 6 times 15, which is 90. Then we can divide this both sides by 45. So the value of f is 90 divided by 45. So that is 2. So the fraction 2 is to 15 is proportional to 6 over 45. Then last number, number 4. So we have j minus 5 over j plus 3 equals 1/3. So here, you have an example of algebraic expression here with a known variable j. So let us cross this one. So we have 3 multiplied by j minus 5 equals 1 times j plus 3. So just distribute this one. So you have 3j minus 15 equals 1 times the whole thing. So that's j plus 3. And then we just transpose j to the left side. So we have 3j minus j equals 3. And then transpose negative 15, that becomes positive 15. So you have 3j minus j, that is 2j, then 3 plus 15 is 18. And then divide both sides by 2. So the value of j is 9. So if we're going to check j minus 5, that is 9 minus 5 over 9 plus 3 equals 1/3. 9 minus 5 is 4 over 12 equals 1/3. And of course, 4 over 12, the lowest term is also 1/3. So the correct answer here is 9. And 4 over 12 is proportional to 1/3. So that concludes our lesson for proportion. So I hope you learned something about ratio and proportion. So have a good day to all.